Hello, everybody. I've been to a Belgian tractor show a couple of weeks back, and they had a little market, and I picked up a few items that I was about to clean up and put away. So I thought I'll show you the items and I'll show you the cleanup before I try to store them. I've spent I think about 17 quid. I bought of two sellers. I bought the small lot, this lot, of one seller, and I bought these two items, so that was 7 quid, I think. I bought these two items for a tenner, but I also bought for the tenner also was this like a rather large clamp that I won't show you any further in the video, but it's quite a, I don't think you could tell, but there's quite a hefty bend up here. I need to figure out how to get that looking at least a little bit better. That's for another time. This is for now. I think I'll start off with this one. This is something I generally don't pick up. So it's a German copy of a Van Daal's wrench. I don't know, it stood out to me for some reason. I think it's the most work cleaning up off the lot. I think it stood out for me. It felt bad for it the way it looked in the bottom of a bucket, and it stood out because it's quite nicely stamped Democrat, DRDM, and the patent number. Usually they're not stamped, so maybe that's why it stood out. Anyway, let's start with picking this apart and then cleaning it. What I'll do, I'll throw it in a little jar of vinegar, which will help me clean it up, and then after I will assess it further to see what we do with it. Now, while that's soaking, which will take about a day, I want to still be moving on. So let's stay within the Germanic theme. This is I think it's for adjusting points, what I would say. Now you can see it's got the Audi logo on there. Now I own a 50-plus-year-old Audi, so I'm always interested in picking up tools with their logo that are older, because it came without any tool, and I like those stem tools. Now the Audi company is much older than this logo is actually. This logo is when 4 German car companies merged, and they merged around the German Olympics in 1936, around that era. That's how they came up with the inspiration for the 4 intertwined rings. So 4 companies merged, being Audi, Horch, Wanderer, and DKW. Now, pre-war, they all produced cars under their own name, being a united car company, merged car company, and after the war, only DKW was being made. Now, they made 2-stroke engines, which were terribly outdated in the 1960s, and the company almost went bust. And that's when Volkswagen bought them out, and they started making a new car, which is actually the car I own, and they started using the Audi name again to get rid of their bad image, basically. Knowing they made a lot of 2-stroke engines at the DKW factory, I presume this is from that era, not from the era of being named using the Audi name. They also made a lot of motorbikes and mopeds, so might also be from a motorbike or moped toolkit as well. Now, this is one of those high carbon steel things. You know, it can always gets horribly pitted. And there's not a lot you can do about that really on a tool this tiny, with the feeler gauge being stamped in there, pinned in there, rather than taking it out and having a big hassle getting that to look somewhat decent. So what I will do, I will clean this very thoroughly, and then I think that's the only thing you can do is to clean this thoroughly, use some cold glue on it, and then cake it in oil to try and stop it from rusting any further. So that's what I'll do now. So all black and all caked in oil. I use Ballastol as my cold bluing solution, and I also use their oil, and it seems to be quite a good combination. And I've had good experience with their oil and preventing any further rust. So this will probably have a little like toolbox in the back of my old Audi, and that's where I'll probably put this for safekeeping. I think it's a place where it should live. It's a pretty harsh environment for a tool, so hopefully the oil will work. Now moving straight on, let's look at this sponge. Pretty obvious why I liked it, but it does need some cleaning, so let's do that now. Here it is, all clean. I've wire wheeled this with the Dremel because there were a little, you can see the scarring, a few little rust spots, and the top started flaring out. So I've taken that down with the belt sander. This is existing damage. Actually, I have run into it once, but and the rest of it cleaned up just with that's existing damage as well. The rest of it cleaned up with just washing up liquid, so that can live happily in the drawer with the other. It's quite a fine. Can you tell? Quite a fine point. No, you can't. Sorry. So it can live happily with the other punches in the punch drawer. So that's the Stanley punch. Let's move on to this bad boy. Now this is what I first picked up from the guy, which I really like. It's a Yankee Handyman. So that stood out, but it's like a really small Yankee #2 Handyman, made in the USA, patent pending, tiny little ratcheting screwdriver. Now it works. This has been ground down. It's a shame. It's probably broke because it's such a small thing. Nothing I can do to it anyway, so I'll leave that. This I could also send out, but I would lose the stamping, which I don't think is necessary. So what I'll do, I'll go over this with some washing up liquid. It's some sort of plastic, and then I'll buff it with plastics. See how it comes out. I'll wire wheel this for just to get hopefully some of the rust scarring out, having it look just a little bit better. But it's in quite good condition as is, really. The guy had some quite clean tools, to be honest. So yeah, let's do that. So there we are. After the quick wire wheel with the Dremel, now on further on inspection. This is painted wood, so I didn't wash it. I did polish it with plastics actually, and it did, from a distance you can see much better, but did a good job polishing it out and taking quite a lot of the staining and dirt off. So I think I'm happy with this. The metal will receive a coat of wax, of course, but for the rest I'm gonna leave it as is. Then on to the last easy job is this bicycle wrench. Now those of you who watched my previous videos, I've got a lot of these. I've got about a drawer full, and most of them came from Ben. He's bought a lot at the David Stanley auction, so probably somebody's collection, lifelong collection. Now I saw this. It's a Frank Mossberg, which is the most common type, I think, but I didn't know if I had a diamond. Turns out I don't, so I brought it. So I don't have a Frank Mossberg of this style, this number, and being a diamond. Now, being a shame, this thing has been ground down to fit something, which is a real shame, but it is what it is. Which even caused a jaw to crack because there was no support there anymore. So not a great thing to do. I do think it would benefit from a quick cleanup. You can see the thread inside the thumb wheel is quite dirty. So what I'll do is I'll take it apart. I'll clean I'll clean the thumb wheel up, and I'll give it a polish on the polishing wheel, just to spruce it up a little bit, and then it can go live with its other friends, the other Frank Mossberg bicycle spanners in the special drawer. So cleaned up and polished on the polishing wheel. You can see it became a lot shinier. So I've cleaned out the wheel, and I've cleaned out the inside of this with the Dremel. Really, Dremel's indispensable, you know, cleaning a tool like this. I clean between all the teeth there. So, and I've used Magdad's trick on the flaking plating to just blend it in slightly. I didn't go overboard, but it's not as sharp as it used to be. So I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna put some Mother's California gold wax on it, and it's gonna go in the drawer. So that's the last of the easy jobs from this lot. You can see this thing is just picking up dirt as it's just lying here. It's a horrible choice of color for a tool handle. Anyway, the big Utica wrench, 12-inch Utica, New York, owned by a guy with first or last name starting with an E. Now I don't see Utica tools a lot, so that's why I liked it. That's what made me pick it up. I've got two 6-inch Uticas of the same style, like the number 96, 9012. You can see this is why I want to clean them up before I put them away, because I've had this thing forever, and you know, it's lying in a drawer looking like this, which I find disgusting. Anyway, I'll start working on the Utica. I'll pick it apart. I'll give it a good wash and then a clean, and I'll show you what it looks like after I've done to it what I want to do to it. Does any of you also find it so oddly satisfying to pick out all the dirt and gunk that's been collected in these over the, like, so much dirt in there? I find it really satisfying. I don't know why. Anyway, I also looked this one up a bit more. This grind seems to be original. It was a bit too neat for somebody having it done it at home anyway, so that might have been true. And I think this band must have been red. You can see right there some of the remnants, and I found pictures of it with a red band. Actually, it came with a black handle. One came with a black handle and came with a sort of ivory color handle like this one. And I've only seen pictures of the black handle with a red band, but I'm sure this had a red band as well, so I'll repaint that quickly as well. Right, so this thing has been cleaned, and I put a grind on the head. I'm not 100% happy, but it looks alright. You know, clean. I can always try to go over it with a finer grit. I did what I could for now, and at least it's clean. I put a red band on the screwdriver, which has improved it, I think. Now this thing, this is why I don't usually like to mess with those. It's got all the problems, sanding on there. It's got all the problems these things have. As you can see, the face is open. It's bent in multiple ways actually. The thread's bent, and the bar's been bent. I think the bend's, it's over here for sure, as you can tell, but it's probably over there as well. And I'm horrible at getting bends out. Not only that, because it's been bent, it's been pushing against the rest, and it's been cracked all the way through, so you can never get this properly straight. But I'm gonna try and bend this straight. I put the dust collecting nail puller in a drawer because I couldn't stand it. So yeah, we'll proceed on this one, and see what we can do. So it's been put in the vise, and then I've put the old trusty pipe wrench on it, and I've gotten it relatively straight. You know, you put it in the vise up till there. You put a pipe wrench on it. Scoutcrafter showed us anyway. He's much better at explaining it than I am. It's relatively straight. You can see some light through there. And I've also straightened the threaded rod out carefully. Now you can see if I put it in there, it does look much better. Now this has been worn. It's basically worn. I've did some damage with the pipe wrench, to be honest, you know, bitten in there and in there. That'll clean. This will probably stay and nobody will ever notice, except of the poor of you that made it this far in the video. Like I was saying, it's got a bit of wear, like it's been worn down in the front, and you can see this thing has never closed up 100% because it has a step in here, you know, it steps up a little bit, so it never like fit up 100%, which, you know, it doesn't really need. It's for grabbing bolts and nuts, which are usually like that size. And it had the same wear over here. Now I've already had the file on there, trying to get that as flat as I can, and I'll do the same with this, and we'll see if we can get it a bit more parallel. So with file down jaws, it looks like this. I've did a little fitting. You know, I've sanded inside the jaws, and I think that they line up pretty nicely now. I've also sanded inside here a little bit to make the gap smaller, which I think I succeeded in. You haven't seen it before, but I have. You know, I could file in there a little bit more to get it to close up completely, but this is how they came. I think I'm gonna leave it this way. I might make my decision when I've done through sanding. Now I've already done some test sanding on it to see how it comes out after the this is rough sanding, and then the fiber wheel, you know, it's just a try out, and I've already cleaned up the front of the jaws that was bothering me. Now it's a little bit cocked, I think, but it lines up here perfectly and over there perfectly, so I'm gonna try and get it out with sanding, I think, because it's ever so slightly. So I'm gonna carefully try and get it out with sanding. Sanding goes pretty quickly because it's a very soft metal. You know, you'd be very upset if this would have came from China. It's a bit of a tool illusion, I think, to be honest. So I'm not sure what it'll look like. I like the, you know, the polished look I've done on here, but that takes a lot of sanding, and I didn't do a perfect job because you can still see the sanding lines, but I'll probably do like more of a matte finish like I've done on this one, which I think looks alright as well. So it'd be similar to that. So yeah, let's proceed. So here it is, all cleaned up. I've gone for the sort of matte finish. I think that suits it best because there's like some deep that's not pitting, that's dirt, like some deep pinning over there that I can't grind out without losing the name. I've lost some of the T up there, which I find a little bit upsetting, but it is what it is. You know, the jaws look alright again after the damage has done to it, that I've done to it. It's fully waxed up. It's getting a bit damp, as you can tell. I've polished the nut wheel, and I've blued the bar, and I've polished the thread, which you can probably see it works pretty smoothly again. And, you know, it closes up nicely. To be honest, I'm quite happy with the with how I got it. I wasn't expecting it to wasn't expecting me to get it that straight, unlike me, really. So there it is, all waxed up, can go into the German wrench drawer all clean, because I know if I would have put it in there now like this, you know, it would have never gotten clean ever. But now it looks alright, I think, you know. So yeah, there they are, all cleaned up minus the dust collector. I'll put them away now, and I'll start on a new video straight away, actually. Alright, thank you for watching. Bye.